John had been working late for the third night in a row, the weight of bills pressing down on him like a constant shadow. His young daughter's laughter at dinner still echoed in his mind, a reminder of what he was fighting for, yet exhaustion made each step feel heavier than the last. As he hurried down the dimly lit street, clutching his worn briefcase, a flash of distress caught his eye, a woman struggling with a flat tire. Frustration and panic etched across her face. Instinct took over, and he didn't hesitate, despite the lateness, despite the looming thought of missing his paycheck. Kneeling beside her, hands dirty and fingers trembling from the cold, he worked quickly, offering encouragement, a calm presence she hadn't expected. She looked at him with wide, grateful eyes, her voice trembling as she thanked him repeatedly, and in that brief moment, John felt an unfamiliar warmth, a connection that defied explanation. Little did he know, this simple act of kindness, sacrificing time, risking his own responsibilities, would ripple far beyond that lonely street. This chance encounter was more than a fleeting good deed. It was a pivot, a silent turning point in a life already full of struggle. As he straightened up, brushing dirt from his sleeves, he glanced at her one last time before turning back toward the streetlights and the path home, unaware that the woman whose gratitude he had earned in those few tense minutes held a power that could change everything: his work, his future, even the fragile heart of a man who had always put everyone else first. That one choice, seemingly small, was about to challenge every expectation he had of luck, love, and opportunity. The next morning, John walked into the office, still carrying the echoes of last night's unexpected encounter. The fluorescent lights cast a harsh glow over the polished floors, but it was her presence that made him pause, heart skipping a beat. There she was, standing near the reception, professional, composed, and impossibly poised, the same woman whose tire he had fixed just hours before. Reality hit him in an instant. This was not a coincidence. She was his new boss. He forced himself to straighten his back, smooth his worn shirt, and step forward with calm professionalism, hiding the shock and the thrill that danced quietly beneath his chest. She greeted him with a polite nod, her eyes flickering with recognition, a subtle smile that held more than mere acknowledgement. As the day unfolded, John found himself navigating his tasks with heightened awareness, each glance toward her a silent conversation, each brief interaction a chance to reveal competence without overstepping. She, in turn, observed him closely, noting the careful precision in his work, the way he balanced focus with kindness toward colleagues, and the understated patience he carried as if it were a shield forged through years of responsibility. Neither spoke about the night before, yet the memory lingered between them, unspoken but undeniable, creating a fragile thread of connection that neither could ignore. Meetings, emails, and deadlines passed, but beneath the surface, curiosity and admiration began to intertwine, subtle yet persistent. Every small gesture, from a quiet offer of help to a thoughtful observation, carried weight. In the rhythm of the office, a silent understanding was forming, one that promised respect, trust, and perhaps something deeper, built not on chance alone but on character, integrity, and the first spark of a connection neither had anticipated yet both could feel. The ordinary day had become extraordinary, and John knew instinctively that nothing would ever be quite the same. The morning began with the hum of computers, and the low murmur of colleagues discussing last week's deadlines. John settled into his desk, scanning the emails that had piled up, his mind still partly on his daughter, and the school breakfast he'd barely made time to prepare. The office felt heavier than usual, the air thick with anticipation. A notice from the department head caught his eye. A major client project needed a complete overhaul by the end of the week. John felt a familiar tightening in his chest, the pressure mounting immediately. He took a deep breath and opened the files, analyzing the data methodically. His eyes traced every detail, cross-referencing past reports and client feedback, looking for patterns that others might have overlooked. Each number, each comment, each small inconsistency was a puzzle piece. He felt a surge of purpose, the focus bringing a temporary escape from fatigue. By mid-morning, he had sketched the first outline of a new approach, one that would not only meet the client's requirements, but exceed expectations. It was a risky move, unconventional yet grounded in strategy. He knew presenting it would be a test of his judgment and creativity. Across the room, she glanced up from her desk, her eyes catching his as he explained a quick adjustment to a colleague. There was a brief, unspoken acknowledgement, a recognition that he was someone who didn't just meet expectations, but thought beyond them. John felt a subtle thrill, the awareness that his effort was being observed adding weight to his confidence. Lunch came and went in a blur. He took a short break by the coffee machine, only to find her there, preparing a cup as casually as if they had shared years of office small talk. "I like your approach," she said quietly, a comment that sent a ripple of warmth through him. John managed a small smile, careful not to let the personal note break his professional demeanor. Back at his desk, he adjusted the proposal, incorporating new insights. Each calculation, each sentence written, carried his full attention, but there was an undercurrent of anticipation. He wondered if she noticed the meticulous effort, the late nights and early mornings that had become his routine. As the day progressed, John found himself seeking brief moments to exchange ideas with her, small interactions filled with mutual curiosity. Questions were asked and answered with measured care, glances exchanged with subtle weight, and an unspoken understanding started to grow between them. A client call came in, tense and urgent. John navigated the discussion with calm authority, suggesting solutions that were both practical and innovative. She watched quietly, noting his composure under pressure, admiration threading through her professional judgment. By evening, the office was nearly empty, but John remained, revising the final draft of the project. He felt a quiet satisfaction, knowing he had given everything. Yet, a small flutter of doubt lingered. Was it enough? Would it be noticed? Would it make a difference? As he packed up to leave, she approached, holding a folder and a subtle, knowing smile. "There's something I want you to see first thing tomorrow," she said, leaving him with a mixture of curiosity and anticipation. The words hung in the air, a promise and a challenge, pulling him into the next day with a heartbeat faster than the ticking office clock, knowing that whatever awaited would change everything. John arrived early, the quiet hum of the office greeting him like a familiar rhythm. The night before's exhaustion still clung to his shoulders, but there was a subtle anticipation as he passed her office, noticing the way she seemed to glance up just as he walked by. It was nothing overt, but the awareness of her observation added a quiet tension to his morning routine. He opened his laptop, reviewing the project revisions from the previous day, adjusting numbers and formatting with precision. Every keystroke carried more than just professional intent. It was a demonstration of diligence, a silent conversation that only she seemed to notice. During a brief pause by the printer, she appeared beside him, checking over her shoulder as he finalized a report. Her eyes lingered, not in judgment, but with curiosity, a faint smile tugging at the corner of her lips. John's pulse quickened slightly, and he straightened, pretending calm as his mind raced with unspoken questions. Emails came in, demanding swift responses. John replied carefully, balancing speed and accuracy, conscious of her watchful gaze. Each successful decision, each measured step, was met with subtle acknowledgement, a raised eyebrow, a brief nod, the smallest hint of approval. Mid-morning brought a meeting with the client. John's presentation was clear, concise, and confident. She observed silently, her expression betraying nothing, yet her attention was unmistakable. He noticed a subtle shift in her demeanor, the first cracks of personal interest appearing amidst the professional. Back at his desk, a colleague approached with a minor question. John helped, patiently explaining details while keeping an eye on her, noticing the slight tilt of her head, the way her eyes followed the interaction. Respect and admiration were building quietly, like a slow current. Lunch was a quiet affair, yet they crossed paths briefly at the coffee machine. A shared laugh over a small office mishap broke the tension, creating an emotional spark neither could ignore. Their eyes met for longer than expected, and both sensed the unspoken connection growing. Afternoon brought an unexpected technical glitch. John's calm handling impressed her further, demonstrating problem-solving under pressure. Her nod of acknowledgement was slight, almost imperceptible, but it carried weight, a silent affirmation of his competence and integrity. As the day wound down, John found himself reflecting on the subtle exchanges, on the curiosity and quiet respect that had grown between them. Every glance, every brief word, seemed to carry meaning beyond the tasks at hand, weaving tension and intrigue into ordinary office life. When he packed up to leave, she paused by the doorway, holding a document he needed for the next phase of the project. "We'll review this together first thing tomorrow," she said softly, her tone calm but charged with unspoken significance. The words lingered, promising collaboration, challenges, and perhaps a deeper connection yet to unfold. John arrived at the office, carrying a quiet energy that contrasted with the usual morning fatigue. The brief exchanges with her over the past 2 days had left a subtle imprint on his thoughts, and he noticed himself scanning the room for her presence before settling in. During a short coffee break, their paths crossed near the small kitchenette. She smiled faintly as he poured his cup, and they exchanged light conversation about morning traffic and the challenges of balancing life outside the office. Their words were casual, yet each sentence carried weight, revealing glimpses of character and priorities without forcing intimacy. Lunch brought another opportunity. He lingered near the communal table, pretending to sort through emails, while she joined with a folder in hand. They spoke of small personal anecdotes, weekend errands, family routines, and childhood memories, which quietly revealed shared values of responsibility, honesty, and patience. Each interaction was measured yet meaningful. John noticed the way she listened attentively, her posture relaxed but engaged, eyes reflecting genuine curiosity. He found himself matching her attentiveness, responding with care and subtle thoughtfulness, a mutual understanding growing in silence. A minor office incident, a misplaced file, a confused colleague, provided a brief moment of collaboration. They laughed softly over the confusion, and the ease of the interaction highlighted the comfort forming between them. Even in these fleeting exchanges, admiration for each other's competence was unmistakable. By mid-afternoon, they had established a rhythm of brief but significant encounters, coffee breaks, shared printers, passing by desks. Each moment was an opportunity to notice nuances, her measured approach to tasks, his quiet diligence, and each observation deepened the subtle connection. John felt an unusual warmth as he watched her quietly correcting a presentation slide, her attention to detail reflecting a discipline he respected. He realized that beyond professional capability, there was alignment in ethics and dedication, principles that resonated with his own values. The day's tasks grew demanding, yet moments of brief conversation lingered in his mind, like bookmarks in a long narrative. He noticed that anticipation for these small interactions had begun to shape his day, each glance or exchange sparking quiet, unspoken recognition. As evening approached, they both returned documents and notes for review. Their hands brushed lightly during the exchange, unnoticed by anyone else, but acknowledged silently between them. A small, almost imperceptible moment, yet one that carried meaning far beyond the office tasks. When John packed his things to leave, she spoke softly. "Tomorrow, we'll tackle the next phase together." Her tone was professional, yet charged with the same subtle weight of shared understanding. John left the office with a flutter of curiosity, aware that their connection was deepening, and that tomorrow promised more insight, collaboration, and perhaps a hint of something unspoken. The office buzzed with an intensity John hadn't experienced before. The urgent project had arrived suddenly, demanding immediate attention and flawless execution. Deadlines loomed, and every decision felt critical, amplifying the pressure that already weighed on him from balancing work and home responsibilities. She approached his desk, folder in hand, her calm demeanor contrasting sharply with the flurry around them. "We need to tackle this together," she said, voice steady yet firm. John nodded, recognizing the gravity of the moment. The air between them was charged, each acknowledging the stakes and the necessity of trust. They spread out the plans, reviewing data side by side. Suggestions flowed back and forth, he proposing practical solutions, she evaluating each option with precision. Their exchange was efficient yet layered with subtle observation. Each noticed the other's attention to detail, resilience, and judgment under pressure. Hours passed almost unnoticed as they navigated through the tasks. Small gestures, a pen handed over, a folder carefully placed, were amplified by their close proximity. Each touch, each glance carried meaning beneath the surface, creating an unspoken rhythm between professionalism and something quietly personal. During a tense client call, John spoke clearly and confidently, implementing strategies they had devised together. She watched intently, her subtle nods and brief smiles acknowledging his competence. The admiration and respect that had been building now intertwined with a softer, almost imperceptible emotional current. Breaks were minimal, but brief moments over coffee or shared notes offered glimpses of personalities beyond the office roles. She asked about his weekend routine, and he mentioned his daughter. The exchange was professional yet intimate, adding depth to their connection. Mistakes and setbacks tested their patience, but they relied on each other without hesitation. John realized the trust he felt in her judgment was matched by her reliance on his. The shared pressure intensified a bond neither had openly acknowledged but both felt growing. By late evening, the project's components were aligned, yet unresolved challenges remained. They leaned over the final documents together, proximity making the air between them charged with unspoken tension, blending urgency and anticipation. She paused, looking up at him, eyes reflecting both focus and something softer, unspoken. "Tomorrow, we finalize this," she said quietly, a hint of reassurance threading through the professional tone. John felt a flicker of anticipation, the line between work and personal connection blurring subtly but undeniably. As he packed up to leave, his mind lingered on the day's intensity and the subtle care they had shown one another. Tomorrow promised resolution, continued collaboration, and perhaps a shift in the balance between professionalism and something quietly deeper, leaving him eager, yet cautiously aware of what might develop. The morning air felt different, charged with anticipation as John arrived at the office. The final presentation for the urgent project was scheduled, and the team was gathered in the conference room. The tension was tangible, but beneath it, John felt a quiet confidence born from days of collaboration and mutual trust. She stood at the front, calm and composed, yet her eyes sought his among the audience. A subtle nod passed between them, a silent acknowledgement of the countless hours, decisions, and shared problem-solving that had brought them here. It was more than professionalism. It was a mutual recognition of character and effort. John delivered his portion of the presentation with precision and clarity. Every suggestion, every solution, was met with thoughtful consideration from the client. His calm demeanor and ethical approach shone through, and he could feel her pride in his work, conveyed through subtle smiles and attentive glances. As questions arose, they answered seamlessly together, demonstrating a partnership built on trust, respect, and complementary strengths. She interjected at key points, guiding the conversation with insight and vision, and John admired her leadership, the clarity of her decisions, and the quiet authority that demanded respect without intimidation. The clients responded positively, impressed not only by the technical solutions, but also by the evident synergy between the two. The room filled with polite applause, and John felt a surge of accomplishment, both personal and professional. Back at her office, she handed him a folder with a concise note. "Your work made this possible. I value your integrity and dedication." The words were simple, but their impact profound. John felt a mix of gratitude and admiration, recognizing the depth of her appreciation and the respect that had grown between them. They shared a quiet moment by the window, looking out over the city as the late afternoon sun cast warm light into the room. Conversation flowed effortlessly, touching on priorities, values, and subtle personal insights. The tension between them softened, replaced by a respectful curiosity and the beginnings of something tender. Small gestures, a coffee cup handed across the desk, a shared laugh over an office mishap, became symbols of the growing bond. There was no rush, no pressure, only a deliberate and careful acknowledgement of mutual regard and interest. John realized that admiration and respect could form the foundation of something lasting. Their connection was grounded in character, trust, and shared experience, a slow-burning bond that promised depth rather than instant passion. As he left the office that evening, he glanced back at her with a quiet smile. She returned it, equally subtle, equally loaded with unspoken promise. The project had ended, but their story, built on integrity and connection, was only beginning, unfolding at a pace defined by patience and mutual respect. John's journey through long nights, careful decisions, and small acts of kindness illustrated a truth often overlooked in the rush of daily life. Integrity, responsibility, and genuine care for others create more than temporary satisfaction. They build trust, respect, and lasting connections. The single act of helping a stranger on the street, a moment that seemed insignificant in the grand scope of his struggles, had become the catalyst for a profound shift in his personal and professional world. By prioritizing ethics and compassion over immediate gain, he demonstrated a character that naturally attracted recognition and opportunity, showing that the consequences of kindness often extend far beyond what the eye can see. Throughout the project, the subtle interactions with his new boss revealed that relationships founded on mutual respect and shared values carry a depth that superficial achievements cannot replicate. Their growing admiration for each other's dedication, patience, and integrity set the stage for a bond that was deliberate, steady, and meaningful. This slow-developing connection highlighted a type of romance that was grounded not in instant attraction, but in observation, trust, and understanding, proving that meaningful relationships often take time to flourish. Each gesture, whether a thoughtful collaboration, a moment of shared laughter, or the quiet acknowledgement of hard work, contributed to the emotional landscape that nurtured both respect and affection. In the end, the story serves as a reminder that life's small, selfless choices can have ripple effects, opening doors to unforeseen opportunities, creating enduring connections, and transforming ordinary moments into profound experiences. John and his boss had begun a journey that intertwined professional achievement with emotional depth, showing that when kindness, dedication, and ethical action guide decisions, they foster not only success, but also relationships built to last. Their story demonstrates that true connection and reward are often born from patience, moral courage, and the quiet commitment to act with integrity in a complex world.